Your health is your wealth. Your energy is the currency. And if you're not prioritizing that, you're really missing out on a key component of life and success.
We were Uber eating 5 times a day. Literally breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks for the kids, for us.
Who cares if we go to 7 figures, multiple 7 figures, have millions of dollars in the bank, but we're fat?
I was like, I'm not a fitness person. There's nothing I really enjoy. I don't enjoy doing these moves. I hadn't found the thing that really resonated with me. And so I tried a bunch of different things and finally found my groove.
Welcome back to another episode of the Scaling Together podcast, where we're unpacking how we've grown and scaled our businesses as a couple. And on today's podcast, we're going to talk about something that's very near and dear to both of our hearts, and that's prioritizing your health, your fitness, and energy by getting your right dietary routine in place. And I know as a couple, sometimes we get married and then we get lazy, we get focused on business development, and the health side of things becomes less of a priority. And I think over the last couple of years, we've really gotten focused back on that and really the importance of it. You specifically looking amazing as always. But let's talk a little bit about how important that is in running your business, in taking care of your family, and kind of what our health routine looks like today.
I am so excited to talk about this topic because it has been a long journey, one that's caused a lot of frustration over the past. It's stressful emotionally, a mental battle, kind of like on a daily basis when we're not thinking about or in a routine to be conscious of making it a priority. And so the times where I didn't have a routine to hold on to, I'd pass the mirror or I'm putting on clothes and I'm just feeling in the back of my mind, on my shoulder rests that stress of I should be working out. I should be doing something for my longevity, like some healthy thing. Like I feel like I'm drained all the time. I'm lacking energy. But we have 3 kids. We're married. We have 2 businesses that we're running. How do we find the time to do everything, to be on top of everything and check off all these boxes that an entrepreneur is supposed to do to be on top, to be at their best? And so for the longest time, I was in a position where I did not have this as a priority. The priority was our kids. The priority was our business, our team, our clients. That's where our passion is. That's where we care about. And then the rest was just, we were fitting our life around our business instead of creating our business so that it fits our life. And so that was a huge shift that we've done in the past couple of years that has been phenomenal for us. I mean, we are seeing the benefits 10 times in our life. And it started with hiring a house manager. And one of the things I had this thought the other day that like 2 years ago, I was thinking about this exact thing of always passing the mirror and being like, I should be working out. Or I see these quotes and we're reading books and stuff and it comes up of like, yeah, we should have fitness as a priority. And yeah, we hear that all the time. But I was fed up of like feeling guilty about not having a routine and not being consistent with it. And we were Uber eating 5 times a day. Literally breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks for the kids, for us. It was crazy. And it was like a lot of fast food. And it wasn't until I made a decision of, you know what, this someday maybe I'll do this and be that person. The realization that if I don't do something today, that person is never going to exist. And so that's when I sat down and I started writing a list of all the things that were on my shoulder that were stressing me out on this shelf of someday maybe. And what would it look like for me to do the workouts? I would want to work out Monday through Friday every single morning. Okay. Can't get that done right now. Let's just write it on the list right now. And then how am I going to get healthy foods, healthy meals in? We have a fitness instructor. But it's like, how do we get those? There's no time to cook. There's no time to order these foods and all this stuff. So it was, how do I figure it out? But first I just created the list and then I started tackling one at a time. And it was with the unlocking of the house manager. You want to talk a little bit about that experience and how that has unlocked just the consistency of being able to, now I'm able to go to the gym and now I'm able to eat healthy.
Yeah, I think having the additional support, like in our case, because we have 3 kids, right? And somebody's got to watch the kids in the morning, obviously, and then doing the work while getting the food, the right foods. If you want to cook the food yourself and buy all the stuff that you need, that takes mental energy and it takes time. So having somebody that could own that and be like, okay, I'm going to be there in the morning. I'm going to have the foods cooked and prepared. And knowing even if we've got a slam day, and if we look at our schedule sometimes, from early in the morning till late in the afternoon, there's meeting. There'd be no time to stop and go downstairs and cook food and then even eat the food. So having somebody that's managing the schedule, and we eat 5 times a day, like we got our meals all prepared. There's a very specific macro diet that we follow. If I'm not downstairs to get it, she'll bring it up to us and say, okay, here's the meal. And so that lets us be super productive while at the same time getting the consistency of the right macros at the right time, which is just really important.
Because we work from home. So she cooks it and we eat it when it's ready. But for somebody who works in an office, they can have their meals pre-prepped and taken to the office and kept in a fridge and microwave it and that kind of thing. So it's interchangeable. But the house manager is so key to have it for consistency. And the fact that we are being held accountable as well of when we're going to eat. Because sometimes with the kids, when they were younger, I would be making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for them because that's what they wanted. And I'm like, I don't have time to do anything. I'm just going to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for myself too. This is my lunch today. And so it's just a nice way to be able to solve for a big issue that we had in hiring this one person. And we are giving an opportunity for someone to have a job, to put food on their table and take care of their own family because we brought this person into our house. So we don't, I know sometimes we get asked that feeling of guilt of because we are giving up the cooking and the cleaning and stuff like that to somebody else, that might weigh on a person of, oh, and does that make me lazy, or does that mean, or how are other people going to view me and stuff like that. So that definitely removes that feeling when you think about the fact that you're giving an opportunity to someone else and you're solving big problems in your life. And does everyone have a house manager? Obviously not. But does everyone run their own business? No. So we're already against the grain doing something outside of the box in running a business. So the next piece of the puzzle for inside of the family is hiring somebody to help with the day-to-day personally as well.
So I'd love to go back, kind of like, fundamentally, we think about health and fitness and the importance of health and fitness and the why behind it. We're all in different places, and we've all been in that place where we've had months or years where we weren't eating right and we weren't exercising. Why in your mind, and I'll share mine, like, why is it even important to think about that in addition to your other aspects of your life?
Because for me, the biggest why is our family. And we decided to have our kids when we were older. So for example, my parents had me when they were 19, 20. And so I had kids in my 30s. I spent my entire 30s having kids. And so I already feel like in order to keep up with them, and I want to be that mom. I want to be the one that's like still on the floor building Legos with them and running around outside with them. And to have that level of energy in your 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond, you need to prioritize your health. And we were just talking with another member of ours, Mark, and his wife for breakfast this morning. And we were just talking about the importance of making sure that you are making health a priority and creating a health plan, just like you do with a financial plan.
Yeah.
And having just goals set to make sure that you are eating healthy, that you are working out and being active, because you're going to need that if you want to feel good at those older age years. Yeah. And that's what we want.
No doubt. I think in my mind, I'm really inspired by Robin Sharma, which he's written a bunch of great books, a lot of great things. But I remember there was a long period in our business where it was just heads down, wake up, work, hustle, go home, go to sleep. But it was all about growing the revenue, about growing the business. And I started to think to myself, like, who cares if we go to 7 figures, multiple 7 figures, have millions of dollars in the bank, but we're fat and we feel uncomfortable with ourselves and our energy is down and we can't enjoy life's experiences. Who cares, right? And Robin Sharman talks about crafting a world-class life, and the world-class life, like, what does that mean? It's being successful with your business. It's having financial abundance. It's having high levels of energy. It's being in great world-class condition. And as he was explaining that, it really inspired me to that. It's not, okay, maybe health is relatively important. It's like, it is just as important as being successful in your business. It is just as important as being a good family person or being a good dad. And so your health is your wealth, right? I think the phrase is, when I was young, I would have given up all my health for wealth. So I had the money to do fancy things. But when I get older, I would probably be willing to give up every dollar of wealth that I have in order to have my health again. And so your health is your wealth. Your energy is the currency. And if you're not prioritizing that, you're really missing out on a key component of life and success. So that's why we kind of talked about that. I'd love to talk a little bit about the change point. I know I had a certain change point. I'd love to know, like, your change point that kind of triggered you. You talked about it briefly, but triggered you to get out of, like, whatever your normal diet was, whatever your normal exercise or lack of exercise routine was, to, like, dialed in. All right, I'm going to do this, and I'm just committed to it going forward.
It was that moment for me when I finally realized, okay, I got fed up. I was just tired of the same mental stories in my head that I was telling myself, like, I should be doing this. I should be eating healthier. I should be working out, and just reading books about it. And social media helps with that as well, on the strong leadership people that we follow as well, that are encouraging and pressing on us the importance. And it's true. And I felt and I believe that health is such an important thing, but I was leaving it to the wayside. So it wasn't until I was fed up one day and I was just like, I'm so tired of thinking this same thing and not doing anything about it. So it was just making the intentional decision of, I'm going to do something about this today. Let me create a list and let me figure out how I can make it happen. And we did.
Yeah. And it felt like one of the big drivers for you to get consistent was getting out of the house and getting with a personal trainer and having somebody there at a set date and time. Talk to us a little bit about that. And because you literally went from, not exercising at all to every single day, at least Monday through Friday, religiously getting it in.
That was crazy. It was a totally different identity shift. So I went from what I felt was like a mom to being somebody who is a fit, obsessed person, probably on the like an outsider might think that if they saw my routine, but it's definitely, I created non-negotiables for myself. And the non-negotiable was I was going to work out every single day for the first 9 months. And I did that. I was very consistent until I had an injury. And then because of an elbow injury because of going every single day without a day of rest. I'm talking about, like, I did Saturday through Sunday, the entire week, even on the weekends, I worked out for an hour. And after the 9 months, I got together with my coach. I was like, look, I'm trying to be consistent. And they're like, well, you have to have a day of rest. Be realistic. And so then I switched to doing it 6 days a week. And so I've been very consistent with, keeping up with our exercising as well as our health. But that's been my negotiable, is I have to leave the house and I have to have a personal trainer to help me and to be accountable, because if I leave it to myself, I know I can talk myself out of it. It's like, oh yeah, you had a hard day yesterday. You don't have to go today, so having that extra layer of accountability for my personality type and the way that I function is really important to me. But I do want to hear from you on this, because you differ from me on this. I feel like you are able to, as long as you have a process in place and you know exactly what you need to do for your fitness and you have a clear goal, you can be very accountable of yourself.
Yeah. So I want to say, if you're watching or listening and this is a stuck point for you, like you're just in a funk, one of the best things you can do is to get third-party support, right?
Yeah.
Get to a boot camp style workout, get to a CrossFit center, get to a personal trainer, because when you leave your environment, you've got a set date and time, and it's not just you going into the garage or you going to the gym on your own. It totally changes the ability to get consistent. I know in the past for me, when I was like in a really bad funk, I joined CrossFit. I started to go in CrossFit every single, like couple times a week, and having the set date and time where I knew I had some personal accountability made a big difference. And for the better part of a year, I had a personal trainer that came to the house and worked out together. I would say right now, the way, and we'll talk about our routines here in a minute, but the way the way it works best for me is I'm doing a very specific routine. I know my schedule. I need the flexibility to be at the house with the kids and not leave them completely on their own. I've just been able to get dialed in. And the mindset portion of health and fitness is just as important as the physical learning of like, okay, how do I do the exercises? How do I actually manage the diet? But really mentally programming yourself about the importance and remaining committed to it is half the battle. So, all right, so let's shift gears. I know everybody has different routines, right? And so if you're hearing this, you're like, you may be doing a completely different diet. You may be doing a completely different routine, but we just want to share our routines and kind of what our diet program looks like and what our fitness routine looks like. So let's start with what is your fitness routine? What are you doing to work your body and keep yourself in great shape?
So for me, I do Pilates. And I go to a studio, and I actually have 3 different instructors that I go to because there's not one person who's available for me for the entire week. So I break it up and I get to see 3 different people, and I get 3 different styles of a Pilates training. Some of it is on trapeze. So it's very fun. And that provides for me is certain goals. There's certain cool moves that hardly anybody does, and that like fires me up. And working towards these type of goals of hitting, like doing this move and doing that move is what excites me. And I will say that when I first went into this challenge of, okay, I made a decision to myself that I wanted to work out Monday through Friday. But then I started experimenting because I wasn't a big, huge fitness person. So I didn't know, like there's so many different options out there of things to do as a workout. There's boxing, there's actual, dumbbell stuff in a gym, and there's biking. There's so many different ways to do a workout, karate, all kinds of things. And so I just threw myself into different ones, and I walked into some of them and I was like, wow, this is really not for me. Like I get how people get into this, but this is not speaking my language. And so I tried some out for some of them a few months and things like that, like really getting into the groove. And some of them didn't stick and some of them did. And the one that did, once I found Pilates, like the first day, and I was like, this is where I'm meant to be. This speaks my love language when it comes to fitness. So I would say that if you've tried different routines before and you feel like, well, maybe like fitness isn't for me, that's what I thought. I was like, oh, I'm not a fitness person because there's nothing I really enjoy. I don't enjoy doing these moves. I hadn't found the thing that really resonated with me. And so I tried a bunch of different things and finally found my groove. And I would suggest the same to others.
So good. Yeah, because I remember at the beginning, you were experimenting with a couple different things. You went to a traditional weight training program where you were doing bench press and you were doing squats, and nothing wrong with those moves and those exercises. But I think for you felt like, well, this is going to maybe create some bulk on my body. I don't really enjoy it. And then when you found Pilates, you were like, well, when I look at the type of people that do Pilates, they've got leaner body structure. They like the feminine petite body that you're after. And I think that's worked really well for you. In addition to being like naturally, like you enjoy it more.
Yes. That is something we've had conversations about, is the fact that when you're looking for a trainer, does this person have the body that you're looking for? And I definitely found the trainer that I'm like, wow, that's what I want to achieve. That's amazing. And so that is the goal, that's super helpful as well. Not just the mode of workout, but the actual trainer who you're using as well is big.
Yeah.
Makes a big difference.
So your routine is wake up early in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like 7 a.m. I think, or 8 a.m. is your session.
I wake up at 6:30, and then I head out to my workout 7 to 8. So I do an hour.
Yep.
Come home. I actually spend time with the kids. I built that into my routine. It's like a 30-minute window where we get to do devotions. We pray. They memorize verses because I think very passionate about when you have a verse in your heart and you memorize it. It will speak to you when you need it, and you'll never grow apart from it. And so we do those together, and we usually pick a book that is on a story of somebody who has achieved something great, like Thomas Edison or Walt Disney or different people, and we have that special time built into our schedule.
Awesome. So her routine is 4 or 5 days a week, Pilates for an hour with an instructor, goes hard, working really, really well. My routine has evolved over the years from traditional weight training. I was big into tennis. I used to play tennis multiple days a week. I did CrossFit for a couple of years, went to a bodybuilding style training for a little bit. And today I do what's called X3. It's a band-based workout system, which if you look at it, you'd say, I don't know about that. Doesn't look like it's actually doing anything, but I love it. It's by Dr. John Jaquish. He invented the technology. It's very backed by science and really the strong move of each of these resistance bands is very intense. And so if you want to learn more about it, read Weightlifting is a Waste of Time, and so is cardio. But that's what I do. I do 5 days a week of band-based training, and it's worked really well for me. Still a work in progress. Obviously, I'm not a super fit guy just yet, but I feel like I'm making progress on the routine.
You have been in the best shape of your entire life with this new system that you're working on consistently for now. Was it 2 years? I want to say. Yeah,
probably 2 years.
Yeah.
And then I also have a walking pad at my desk, so I make sure I get at least 5,000 steps a day in addition to the weight training. So that's literally the workout routine. I don't do any other weights. I don't do any other heavy cardio. Let's talk about diet. Again, diet is very, everybody's different. I did keto for a little bit. I did Atkins for a long time. I tried almost an entire year of carnivore diet. And we're doing something a little bit different now. So let's talk a little bit about our current routine. This isn't to be prescriptive for anybody. It's just to share what we're doing and how we're managing our diets today.
100%, because Josh has, like you said, has had every diet in the book.
And when you're whatever diet you're on, it's always the only way, right? In your mind, you're like, well it has to be keto, right? Because that's going to be the best. So,
belief
don't feel like we're trying to tell you need to change anything based on the way we operate.
100%. So for us, it's a macro-based diet. So what I love about this one is I feel like we finally found, after all of the different options that are out there that we've tried, I feel like this is the one that is makes the most sense to me logically, because you're eating all of the things that grow out of the earth, which is fruits, vegetables, whole foods. You're not eating anything fried. You're still enjoying carbs. We still have a certain version of French toast in the morning, which to me is one of these non-negotiables.
Delicious.
To have that French toast
with
every
syrup,
morning.
with that whole natural syrup.
100% organic maple syrup. And we just don't do a lot of sugar. And that leads to, I know I'll go into this briefly, but it's the sugar piece is a very emotionally tied thing for us in our families. I know we each have someone that we know that's very close to us that is going through something today that is tied to a sugar epidemic.
Right.
And so for me, it's my grandmother who's going through Alzheimer's. And it's been a very hard thing to see somebody who's so strong and smart and on top of things and caring and loving, and then see them go through that. And they're scientifically tying that to eating large amounts of sugar and not sticking with your diet. And so to me, that's also one of my whys, is because again, when I get older, I want to still, be mentally sound. I want to be physically fit. And you can talk about your family situation that you have with sugar as well. So one of your whys.
Yeah. Well, I think sugar eventually can lead to dementia. It can lead to diabetes. It can lead to all kinds of issues. And so we're very conscious of that. Macro diet, at this point is there's three macros. There's fats, there's carbohydrates, and there's proteins. We prioritize mostly proteins, a little bit of carbohydrates, but whole food carbohydrates being white rice, whole grain,
wheat bread,
whole grain bread.
Mm-hmm.
The only truly high sugary thing is the maple syrup and some of the syrup and the natural peanut butter. But I was against it. I did the intermittent fasting for a long time, where I would only eat for a very short window of time, and I had good results for a window, and then it would just it would collapse on me. Eventually,
it would come back stronger.
Yeah, it was
the
like,
hunger,
well, wait a minute.
yes.
I haven't had sugar for an entire year. I've only been eating meats. How is it that I'm not putting on muscle, or I'm not moving in the right direction?
Mm-hmm.
So just in my particular situation, it didn't work great, but having the 5 meals a day starting right when we wake up, even with a rice cake and peanut butter and jelly, and then working out, having a protein shake, and then having the French toast, and then lunch is typically about 5 ounces of salmon with 45 grams of rice and a little bit of salad. Another protein shake in the afternoon with a rice cake, peanut butter and jelly, which to me tastes delicious. And then wrap up the day with dinner, like a 5-ounce filet mignon with a little bit of salad and pineapple. And again, this is just as the current routine, the current diet, adds up to about 1,800 calories per day, about 175 grams of protein. And that's makes me extremely full, really satiated, and never feeling like I'm hungry. I need to, find something to eat. And after that, I don't eat between 6 o'clock and the next day. No food, no water. But that's the current diet plan. And we got this directly from Alan Dick, who was part of Dan Martell's Martell Fitness prior. And we really learned a lot. And that process is working really well.
Yeah, 100%. So I think the biggest takeaway is that we have struggled with finding our footing.
And it's a journey. We're not at our destination at all, right?
No one's perfect. And even now that we feel like we found our groove, it's still, we wake up in the morning and we don't want to work out sometimes. We're like, oh man, that's right. I had a late night yesterday and got to wake up crack of dawn in the morning. But we do it anyways because of the commitment, because of the non-negotiables, and understanding that this is a journey, like you said. It's a lifetime thing, and we're doing it for all of those why reasons. And that's what we remember. Because if I say, no, I'm not going to work out today, then I have this huge level of guilt that I deal with the rest of the day. And it's just not worth it to me. That one feeling of like, oh, I don't want to do it, versus an entire day of feeling like, oh, I didn't work out. I missed an opportunity. That exchange to me isn't worth it. And so even though I wake up in the morning, I feel like, oh, I got to work out. That's like a 15-minute window. You feel so much more amazing when you do work out. And I now want to we talked about how health and fitness affects our personal lives, but as business owners, how it affects the business.
Yeah.
So this piece is when we weren't focused on our households and it was a bit chaotic, that can be brought into the business and your team members feeling a bit of chaos, like, oh, they don't, the inconsistencies and stuff like that. So it wasn't until we got into this consistency, the team members see it. And now our culture has become one where more and more of our team, pretty much almost everyone on our team, if not everyone, is doing some kind of fitness. 4 of them have adopted a walking treadmill as they're working, and they're eating better. And we're discussing these at the kickoff of team meetings as your top 3s. Hey, how's it going? Kind of conversation. And it's been wonderful to see. And there's so many studies that have been done on the amount of productivity that goes up. It's like 40% more productive team if they're prioritizing their health and wellness like we are.
Yeah.
And that means also more profitability. They are no longer feeling that brain fog. They're able to work longer hours. They're protecting their energy levels. And so you get more productivity because of that.
Yeah.
And so the mindset shift is different. They're doing hard things. And, when you do hard things, you just unlock what's possible in your life, and it creates more like that feeling, the confidence in yourself as well. It's just so much that is triggered from getting your health and fitness right.
Yeah. So good. So I think the bottom line on this episode is your health is your wealth. You can't live your dreams if you don't have world-class health. And when you are eating right, when you are consistent with your diet, when you're disciplined with your daily routines, you're going to show up better as a leader. You're going to show up better as a spouse. You're going to show up better as a parent, which is going to make you more productive, and it's going to make you a better business owner.
Absolutely. 100%.
So we hope you enjoyed this episode. We'd love to hear any follow-up questions that you have, and or if you've got some cool things you're doing with your health routine, let us know in the comments. If you're watching this on YouTube or you're watching it on Spotify or iTunes, and on that same topic, be sure to subscribe for our follow-up episodes. We'll be interviewing other couples that are running successful agencies and successful businesses and hearing about how they operate as a couple in their business as well. So you definitely want to subscribe, and we'll talk to you again on a future episode.